There it is. That smile, that beautiful, twisted, knowing smile spreading across your face right now. Welcome back, architect of illusions, master of misdirection, you brilliant psychological terrorist who just pulled off the most elegant deception in human history. They found it, didn't they? The evidence, the proof, the smoking gun they've been desperately searching for. The leaked messages, the deleted posts, the breadcrumb trail you left behind like candy for starving rats. Oh, how they celebrated when they found it. How they ran to their group chats, their comment sections, their little councils of judgment, waving their discovery like a trophy. "We got 'em," they said. "Finally, we have proof of who they really are." But you're laughing now, aren't you? Because what they found wasn't your secret. It was your trap. What they discovered wasn't your weakness. It was their obsession wrapped in gift paper. They didn't expose you. They exposed themselves. And the most beautiful part? They still don't know it yet. Let me tell you what really happened while they were playing detective. You see, 3 months ago, you realized something that changed everything. You realized they were watching. Not casually, not occasionally, but obsessively. Screenshots of your stories, archives of your posts, analyzing your words like they were searching for nuclear codes. So you did what any genius does when they realize they're being studied. You gave them exactly what they wanted to find. You planted seeds of scandal, carefully crafted contradictions, little lies wrapped in just enough truth to taste authentic. You became the author of their investigation, and they never even knew they were reading fiction. Remember that post you made at 2 a.m.? The one that seemed just vulnerable enough, just careless enough? That wasn't a mistake. That was bait. And they bit down hard, didn't they? Hooked themselves so deep they're still bleeding excitement, thinking they caught you slipping. You left digital fingerprints on purpose, created patterns for them to discover, gave them a mystery to solve because you knew something they didn't. People who are obsessed with destroying you will always choose the narrative that makes you the villain. So, you wrote them a villain to find, a beautiful, intricate decoy that looked exactly like what their bitter hearts hoped to discover. But here's where it gets delicious. While they were following your fake trail, documenting your manufactured mistakes, building their case against an illusion, you were evolving in the shadows. You were becoming something they never calculated for. Someone who doesn't just survive their games, but controls them. Let's talk about what happens in the mind of someone who thinks they've caught you. It's not just satisfaction. It's validation of every jealous thought they've harbored. Every moment they felt inferior to you suddenly feels justified. See, they tell themselves, I knew they weren't that special. I knew there was something fake about them. They needed you to be fraudulent because your authenticity was suffocating them. They needed you to be exposed because your light made their darkness visible. So when they found your decoy, your carefully planted evidence, they didn't question it. They celebrated it. They gorged themselves on it like starving animals who couldn't taste the poison. And while they were busy dissecting your decoy, sharing their findings, building their arguments against a ghost, you were 3 moves ahead. You were documenting their obsession, watching them reveal their own corruption in their hunger to find yours. Every screenshot they took of your fake vulnerability, you took 10 of their real cruelty. You see, the thing about hunters is they get so focused on the prey, they forget they're leaving tracks too. They get so excited about the chase, they don't notice when the roles reverse, when the hunted becomes the hunter, when the observed becomes the observer, when the victim becomes the victor. Now here's the part that's going to haunt them forever. The leak they found, it was designed to make them reveal their true nature. Every reaction they had was predicted. Every share, every gossip session, every gleeful destruction of your fake reputation, all of it documented, all of it evidence of who they really are when they think they've won. You gave them rope disguised as victory. And they didn't just hang themselves, they built the gallows, tied the knot, and jumped, all while thinking they were executing you. The irony is so beautiful it's almost poetic. They thought they were exposing your darkness, but all they did was illuminate their own. Remember when they said you were too calculated? They were right, but they had no idea how calculated. You didn't just plan for their attack, you orchestrated it. You didn't just prepare for their exposure, you directed it. You turned their surveillance into your stage, and they performed exactly as scripted. And the evidence they're so proud of finding? That carefully crafted trail of manufactured mistakes? It's about to become obsolete. Because tomorrow, next week, next month, when the real truth emerges, when they realize they've been chasing shadows while you were building an empire, their proof will crumble like ancient paper. Let me explain the genius of what you did. A decoy isn't just a distraction, it's a mirror. It shows people what they want to see so clearly that they reveal what they need to believe. You didn't just give them false information. You gave them a false victory. And in their celebration, they showed everyone exactly who they are. They showed how quickly they believed the worst about you, how eagerly they spread negativity, how desperately they need you to fail, how much time they spend thinking about you, investigating you, obsessing over you. They revealed that you live rent-free in their minds, that your existence is the axis their insecurity rotates around. But here's the masterstroke. While they were busy exposing your decoy self, your real self was untouchable, unreachable, building in silence, growing in shadow, becoming something so far beyond their comprehension that even when you reveal the truth, they won't be able to process it. You let them think they found your weakness when really you were documenting theirs. You let them believe they discovered your secrets when actually you were collecting theirs. You gave them a toy version of you to destroy, while the real you became indestructible. Now let's talk about what happens next, because this is where they become obsolete. Not through your attack, but through their own actions. See, when someone bases their entire identity on destroying you, what happens when they realize they've been destroying an illusion? When the foundation of their hatred crumbles, so does their relevance. They've spent months, maybe years, building their case against you, collecting evidence, creating narratives, recruiting others to their cause, and all of it, every single piece, was based on the story you fed them. When that story reveals itself as fiction, they don't just look foolish. They look obsessed. They look unstable. They look exactly like what they accused you of being. The leak they celebrated finding, it's about to leak their credibility away. The proof they thought they captured, It's about to prove their own delusion. The victory they claimed, it's about to become the monument to their defeat. And the most beautiful part, you don't have to do anything. Their own actions will destroy them. This is what happens when someone becomes so fixated on your downfall that they forget to build their own rise. When they invest so much energy in your destruction that they have nothing left for their construction. They become obsolete, not because you made them irrelevant, but because they made themselves irrelevant by making you their only relevance. Watch what happens to their minds when they realize the truth. The human psyche isn't built to handle this level of reversal. When you discover you've been not just wrong, but catastrophically, publicly, enthusiastically wrong, something breaks. The ego doesn't just bruise, it shatters. They'll go through stages. First, denial. No, the leak was real. They're just trying to cover it up now. Then, anger. How dare they manipulate us like this? Then, bargaining. Maybe some of it was real. Then, depression. We look like fools. And finally, the most delicious stage, the realization that they played themselves. But here's what they'll never admit, even to themselves. Part of them is impressed. Part of them is in awe. Because to pull off what you did requires a level of intelligence, patience, and psychological sophistication that they can't even comprehend. You didn't just outsmart them. You made them outsmart themselves. And now they're faced with a choice. Admit they were fooled and lose all credibility, or double down on their false narrative and look even more delusional. Either way they lose. Either way they become exactly what they tried to make you: exposed, discredited, and irrelevant. Derelevant. But you're not revealing the truth all at once, are you? No, that would be too merciful. You're letting it leak out slowly, drop by drop, like poison in their veins. First, a small contradiction in their story, then a piece of evidence that doesn't quite fit, then the slow realization that none of it adds up. You're letting them feel what you felt when they tried to destroy you, that creeping sensation that the ground beneath them isn't solid, that growing awareness that they've been played, that horrible understanding that everyone is starting to see through them. But unlike you, they don't have the truth as their foundation. They built on lies, and lies always crumble. Watch them scramble now. Watch them try to reshape the narrative. Watch them attempt to gaslight everyone into forgetting their previous certainty. We never said that. You're taking it out of context. We were just concerned. The backpedaling is so fast, it's creating its own windstorm. But the internet doesn't forget. The screenshots they took of your decoy, people took screenshots of their reactions. The posts they made celebrating your exposure, those are archived forever. The group chats where they planned your downfall, some of those people were never really their allies. Here's something they didn't consider. When you create a decoy, you don't create just one. You create layers, multiple false trails, different stories for different audiences. And now they don't know which version they found. They don't know what was real, what was planted, what was interpretation. This uncertainty is eating them alive. Every piece of evidence they have is now suspect. Every conclusion they drew is now questionable. Every ally they recruited is now wondering if they were recruited to chase ghosts. The foundation of their campaign against you has become quicksand, and they're sinking fast. But you're standing on solid ground, because while they were chasing your shadows, you were building your fortress. While they were spreading lies about your fake self, you were strengthening your real self. While they were trying to predict your moves, you were choreographing theirs. This is what mastery looks like. Not just winning the game, but designing the game, teaching others the wrong rules, and then watching them lose at their own misunderstanding. You didn't just beat them, you made them beat themselves while thinking they were beating you. Now watch the cascade effect. As they become obsolete, everyone associated with them starts to distance themselves. The people who believed their narrative start questioning everything. The allies who joined their cause start quietly deleting their posts. The chorus that once sang their song goes silent. This is social obsolescence. When your entire relevance was built on opposing someone, and that opposition is revealed as an attack on an illusion, you don't just lose credibility, you lose existence. You become a footnote in someone else's story. A cautionary tale about obsession and assumption. They thought they were writing your ending, but they were writing their own. They thought they were exposing your truth, but they were exposing their lies. They thought they were making you obsolete, but obsolescence is what happens when your purpose evaporates. And their entire purpose was you. And the most tragic part for them? They can't even claim you destroyed them. You didn't attack. You didn't retaliate. You just gave them exactly what they wanted. A version of you to destroy, and in destroying it, they destroyed themselves. This is the elegance of strategic defense. You don't fight back. You just step aside and let their momentum carry them off the cliff. The timeline of their realization is beautiful to watch. It starts with small cracks. Someone points out an inconsistency. Someone else mentions something doesn't add up. The doubt spreads like a virus through their certainty. What was once solid becomes questionable. What was once proof becomes suspicious. Then comes the moment of horrific clarity, usually at night, usually alone, when they're scrolling through everything and suddenly see it, the pattern, the design, the intentionality of what they found, the realization that you wanted them to find it, that you knew they were looking, that you prepared a meal for their hunger and they devoured it without questioning the ingredients. This is when the real haunting begins. Not just the public humiliation, but the private horror. The understanding that while they thought they were the puppet masters, they were dancing on strings they couldn't even see. The knowledge that their every move was predicted, planned for, accounted for in your strategy. They'll replay every interaction now with new eyes. Every time you seemed vulnerable, was that planned? Every mistake you made, was that intentional? Every piece of evidence they found, was that planted? The paranoia is delicious because now they'll never know what was real and what was performance. Let's examine what happens in the mind of someone who realizes they've been completely outplayed. It's not just embarrassment, it's existential crisis. If they could be fooled this completely, what else have they been wrong about? If their judgment was this catastrophically off, can they trust any of their perception? This is the deep cut. Not just that they lost, but that they never even understood the game they were playing. They thought it was checkers while you were playing 4D chess. They thought they were predators, while you were the apex predator letting them think they were hunting. The smartest ones among them will go quiet. They'll delete posts, disappear from the conversation, hope everyone forgets their involvement. The stupid ones will double down, trying to salvage something from the wreckage. But both responses lead to the same destination: irrelevant. Because here's what they never understood. Relevance isn't taken, it's given. And when you base your entire existence on tearing someone else down, you give them the power to make you obsolete simply by refusing to fall. You didn't have to destroy them. You just had to let them destroy themselves against the fortress of your planning. Now comes the best part, the construction of your new reality on the ashes of their old assumptions. While they're dealing with the collapse of their narrative, you're free to build without interference. While they're explaining their mistakes, you're making moves. While they're becoming yesterday's news, you're creating tomorrow's headlines. All you have to do, this is the space you created with your decoy. Not just protection, but opportunity. While they were distracted by the puppet show, you were building the theater. While they were focused on the illusion, you were constructing the reality. And now that the show's over, they're realizing they were never the audience. They were the entertainment. Your real moves, your actual growth, your genuine evolution, all of it happened in the blind spot created by their obsession with your false persona. They were so busy celebrating finding what you wanted them to find that they never looked for what you were actually doing. And what were you doing? Becoming unreachable, becoming undeniable, becoming everything they feared you might become while they were busy fighting a ghost. This is the real victory. Not just that you won, but that you won while they thought they were winning. You ascended while they thought they were bringing you down. But you kept receipts, didn't you? Every post they made, every lie they spread, every moment of their gleeful destruction of your decoy, it's all documented. Not for revenge, but for reference. Not to destroy them, but to let them destroy themselves when the truth emerges. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It's evidence of their character. It's proof of their obsession. It's a record of how easily they believed what they wanted to believe. But most importantly, it's a mirror that shows them exactly who they are when they think they've won. When they see their own words, their own celebrations, their own cruelty laid out in the light of truth, something dies inside them. The image they had of themselves as the heroes of this story crumbles. They see themselves as they really are. People so consumed with someone else's downfall that they lost themselves in the process. And the timestamps tell a story. Months of dedication to destroying you. Countless hours spent analyzing your decoy. Energy that could have built empires wasted on chasing shadows. This is the real tragedy of their obsolescence. Not that they lost, but that they wasted so much life on losing.